Okay, folks. And the magic machine tells me that I'm live, so that I will trust that I am live. And we have Golden Coin 100 first with us in the live chat, and again with the amazing skills, seemingly with the amazing ability to somehow maybe even know before I'm know that I'm going to go live, that I'm going to go live. And we're going back on a 3-year nostalgia loop trip back to the heady days of October of 2022 when, under a different name, Tasha Patterson, as they are now known, uh, ushered in the Halloween season for October of that year 2022 by deciding to release a dungeon a day for their then flagship micro RPG, micro chapbook RPG, micro gay realms RPG, call it what you will, system, part of the problem, how to promote, how to market, the thing with 1,000 different names. We have Jonaside with us as well, grabbing that silver medal on YouTube, Golden Coin 100, fulfilling the trifecta, grabbed that gold medal on YouTube, and then did the sweep, grabbing that gold medal on Twitch, running through, grabbing that gold on Kick as well. I started this TTRPG channel with somewhat of a focus on solo play, experiencing my own personal renaissance with the TTRPG hobby, and experiencing the fever of solo play, the solo play bonanza and bloom of the early 2020s. Um, uh, Patterson's micro chapbook RPG system was an early discovery of mine, and one that I quickly adopted and fell in love with. Unfortunately, um, they say that, or I've heard it said, and I agree, that it can be said that every accusation is a confession. And I've often said that the things that annoy us the most or upset us the most about other people are those things or those qualities which we have ourselves. I've said this. I've known this. So I think, in retrospect, preparing for this video, getting back into the micro RPG system, looking back at my past videos talking about the system and the content creator and my issues with it, um, and with them, I think I can lie down on the couch and self assess that, hey, I could have been more objective with my coverage and said, hey, there's no need to get so enmeshed in our analysis, and we can relax, and some of our critiques or inquiries or speculations may be able to be handled, if they need to be handled at all, um, in a sentence or two, rather than in a 20 to 2.5 hour rant regarding mixed metaphors. Who's got the real issue with keeping their unresolved issues about their sexuality out of the TTRPG content creation, which should just really be about professionalism and yada, yada, yada. So, folks, trying not to commit the same mistakes I think I may have made before. And while the ranting intro is just at a shy of 6.5 minutes, right? We're just an overextended Guns N' Roses bloated song. No, no, Arla, we don't need your participation in this video. You son of a bitch. We love you. You're a great cat. We are going to be going back into the Black Ink's depths. Not the last microchat book RPG content that we looked at on this channel, but definitely content that I looked at on this channel and I gave a kind of a tough review on. I came back and decided, hey, let me go back and play this one again and see if it was, as problematic as I remember it was. And it is. I mean, look, I'm going to be totally honest. It's objectively, um, it's objectively what it is that we're going to be reviewing the starter module for this was the first module for this Black Ink Depths Happy Halloween 2022, first of 31 dungeons. And we're going back in time in the sense that after doing these micro RPG rule sets for 2 years, the game designer was putting into the games versions of the rules that were worse, not better. And the character generation system in here creates average or less than average starting characters, but objectively the dungeon is an impossible dungeon. It's objectively more difficult than the starting dungeons at the beginning of the micro RPG systems. Therefore, this is not like a skill-based game. This is not like a game where you could say, well, even if you had a character with less than stellar ability scores, it's not all about your ability scores. You know, you know, this is not even like Dark Souls or Demon Souls where you could say, yeah, it's an unforgiving game, but people beat Battletoads. No. This is pure statistics, and I've done I've got like a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation. I've got images to show you. Like it's a 1d6 system. It's no bell curve from a 2d6, so it's just like objectively like you're not going to survive these dungeons on these character builds. It's just like, and I have a damning quote because there was a crucial rule change in this thing that I missed in my first couple of videos on this. I've done like 4 hours on this one dungeon, and I was like, I didn't even catch half the stuff that's like in here that's like problematic. And so it's like a real shame because like Tasha Patterson obviously like got real. I want to like I don't want to like make assumptions, but it's like that's like part of it. It's like it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi like screaming at Anakin, "You were supposed to be the chosen one." Like I had so much faith in this thing. Tim Fred getting the new cure again. Try and save. Catch you all in a bed. It's a good thing you updated us. So anyway, so I generated a character like if like using the rules in this thing, and went through it. It was just like this just doesn't work. But like doing it, I was able to take notes, go through it, and like kind of like objectively take notes so that we can just kind of go through it. Ideally, we would do this video with like a second camera so I could do like the like show the paperwork and stuff, but I'm at like we're doing construction here and I'm like trying to like fit things as best as possible so we the enemy is the perfect is the enemy of the good, so we're just gonna like go with it. But so issues encountered with the Black Ink Depth starter module. So I'll just like the basics of the micro RPG system. If you don't already have them, issue number one. It says like in the beginning, it says you could also use any of the other rule sets. Um, Here's a quote here I got from Stan Lee. Every comic is some kid's first comic. That's like a little bit of a paraphrase, but it makes sense. I get it that the chances are that you can make the argument that it's punk rock. The tapes are sold at a nominal fee at shows. Um, the liner on the 7-inch has scrawled de minimis information. Um, the point is it doesn't look professional. The point is everyone at this point gets it. The point is the game designer knows that the people that are buying this book probably already have 10 other copies of the rules and 10 other things, 10 other versions of the books that they've already bought. Yeah, you can assume that, but that's a lousy way to do it because the fact of the matter is that this product is for sale. So your name is on it and the product is still for sale. So when the rules in this particular book don't work, and when I've got a YouTube channel that's saying this game system is one of my favorite game systems, and the game system that they may pick up, or the product that they may pick up based on the recommendation is this product, and this product fucking is deficient because for no reason other than you're just trying new things to try new things, like throwing in luck die because I don't know what. You know what I mean? Because something else has a luck die, or throwing in, a burn die mechanic on, because the black hack is scoring points in indie RPG blogs for managing resources with a use die, when it doesn't fundamentally work in your system, or when there's typos all over the place on a document that is just 40 pages long, and I see that there's typos all over the place on material that I know for a fact, based on the fact that I've got like 90% of the material that you had produced up to this point is all cut and paste, all copy paste. It's like there's some people that use the fact that it's cheap or it's produced cheap to put out cheap product and just to produce crap. And if you do that, then it's just the world is full. And it's like the problem with the first video game bust. With everyone putting out shovelware because the kids will just buy anything, so just put out anything. Well, the end result is, there was a time when I bought everything that this person put out. And then after October of 2022, when I saw that this person was just putting out just absolute garbage, when I saw the advanced character creation guide was being put out in hardbound, hard copy, but when I took the time to actually go through it and was realizing, like, holy crap, this thing is just it's unplayable. This is just like, what is this? That was like the notion that this person was a great game designer, was like paying attention to what they were doing, just like totally went out the window. And it was just obvious that something else had taken over. There was some other agenda going on. The agenda seeming to be, I don't know, that it was more about this lifestyle adventure or this expressing themselves and their self-expression versus putting out quality games. So it is what it is. But then again, this person, had previously said that everything that they do is outsold by their roll and write um, World War II, Adventures at Sea books. So maybe they don't care. But it is what it is. So it says that you can build your character with the rules in this book, or you could use any other rule sets available, such as the Gay Realms Quick Start, Micro Horror RPG, Micro RPG Midnight Book, or any other iteration of the Micro RPG or Micro Chapbook RPG rules. The problem is this: is that those rules are not consistent with the rules in this rule set book. Issue number 2, page 9 and 10. Inky Gateways to the Black Ink Depths. You have to roll a d20 to figure out how your person ended up in these inky gateways. But you have things like through a glitchy old computer, listening to old tapes in an empty factory, ballpoint pen, an abandoned hospital, a dirty old fridge. These are all modern things. Well, the problem is they told you create your character using any of the other rule books. What are those other rule books? A lot of them take place in medieval times, fantastic Renaissance lands of fantasy and far off adventure. Some of these other rule books they said you could create a character for take place in basically like land of the lost and cave people times. How'd you end up with a glitchy old computer taking it away from the gay realms? There are gay glitchy computers in the gay realm. God, maybe it's just what it is. They changed character creation points. That used to be that, the way character creation was made was the combination between species or race, however you want to characterize it, and your class. You would get either, your character generation would either be through a point buy system or rolling of a dice, and then you get another basically another skill point through your uh, race or species, and then you get a proficiency through a class. They want to change that all up here, and now give you your extra skill point, extra ability score through your character type or your world type, and then give you your proficiency through your Shadow Hunter ability. Hey, it's just so stupid. The Shadow Hunter abilities. Um, having previously been told that we could use any of there you go. Double down the use of the core. Okay, here we go. And then it comes to Ink Shadow Hunter abilities. You have ones here for strength. This will give you proficiency when you're testing when you're testing with your abilities. They have a heavy blunt weapons, which give you proficiency and strength, and then they have swift bladed weapons that give you proficiency and strength. But wait, what if you're not using a blunt weapon or using a bladed weapon? Do you not get the proficiency? Previously, a person who had proficiency in strength would have a proficiency in strength no matter what weapon to use. It doesn't say that there's a rule change there saying that the proficiency would only be for that weapon type or the other weapon type. It just creates the presumption that there might be a problem. Up, Jonaside's got to go training the new person. The cat is biting me. The cat is biting me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Here you go. Page 12. Can you stop biting me? The cat's biting me. The cat's biting me, ladies and gentlemen. The cat's biting me, ladies and gentlemen. The cat's biting me, ladies and gentlemen. Page 12. Remember, no matter where your character is coming from, they are entering a dark, horror-themed realm that mirrors their own in some way. Issue. It makes no sense, as some core worlds are already horror-themed to begin with. Also, what about groups? Also, just does not make sense because the dungeons are already given as is. If a person is coming from a steampunk world and then they go into this like garden grotto, it's not a reflection. It's it's just the whole thing is just silly. It's not good writing. There you go. Oh, page 13. Core world types don't match up to bonus logically at all. In some places, wizard witch classes are explained, but there's no magic ability to speak of. There's no magic in this rule set. Oh, they give us again, like I said, this is 2 years on of Miss Patterson making this micro chapbook RPG rule set. They have at this point in time had the ability to add dual wielding, magic, okay, in various other iterations of the game. They've taken those out in this iteration of the game, but given us gender pronouns and how to get married and stuff, and what should we call it? Two contradicting death mechanics, brilliant, and what should we call it? What is this thing here? Oh, I got this thing. Oh, the luck die that does nothing. Right? They don't know how to design a game. I'm sorry. They're not a good game designer. They got lucky in the beginning and then they screwed it up. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Da 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 da. Oh yeah. Okay. The first two entries in Ink Shadow Hunter abilities: heavy blunt weapon, proficiency in strength, swift bladed weapon, proficiency strength. Does this create a new rule or just the possible confusion over the presumption of some because a separate weapon type is named? Page 14. Background. None of this matters in a strict dungeon crawl. Name and age begins at. Oh, here we go. There we go. So here we go. This is what I mean also about the lazy typos. So we have the substats. Here we have a damage bonus for the substats begins at +0 because when you're first starting out, you don't have a damage bonus. So then it gets to the background, gender and preferred pronouns. What is your look at all this space that's taken up here for gender and preferred pronouns, romantic preferences, family and upbringing, name and age. What is all this information necessary when you're basically going to go into a meat grinder? What does this matter when you're basically taking these characters and putting them into basically a DCC character funnel for what? None of this none of this biographical information, none of this fluff matters. Because I'm going to show you objectively, no first level character can survive these dungeons objectively. So none of this information is necessary. All this is emotional entanglement in a character that by definition cannot survive past room 2. So putting all this stuff in here is just poor game design because it does not matter. It does not matter. And it says here, name and age. Name and age. It says begins at +0. Name and age begins at +0. That's just because they took the damage bonus begins at +0 and just copied it over. That's what I'm talking about. This is not a novel. This is not, okay, I'll cut you some slack because you self-published a 400-page book without the aid of an editor. So you've got 25 typos ranging through the manuscript. This is a 40-page friggin' thing that they copy and paste 90% of the work from book to book to book to book. There's no fucking excuse for this shit. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck if you're autistic. It's nice. You know what I mean? You also made a typo. If the age is +0, begins at +0, that's gross. It's stupid too. Because you already asked us what the romantic preferences were at that person that began at +0. Weirdo. Stupid. And we're going to get to the way the thing's objectively too tough. Shop talk. This is where we get to things being objective. I don't even know why I'm wasting my time on these videos. Like, this is so stupid. I go down to one viewer at 28 minutes. This is so stupid. Objective. Okay. Comparing, so shop talk. Comparing with Micro Chapbook RPG Pocket Edition. So I went back to one of the original versions of the game to compare these things. Look. Basically, I'm showing you the notes on screen now. No one gives a damn about this system anymore. No one gives a damn about anything anymore. So I've lost all heart. As I went down to one viewer, I just went down to not give a damn anymore. Anyway, the melee weapons objectively are more expensive in this game than they were. They're more expensive in this game and they do less damage than in the beginning. So over the course of time, the game designer has sought to take a game that was noteworthy for its difficulty in the beginning. Okay, so in the original iteration of this game in 2020, this game was considered unforgiving, brutal, and hard. Okay? Now, objectively, this game designer has taken a game that was considered originally unforgiving, brutal, and hard, and I could tell you objectively, I could show you my notes, but I'm not going to go through it because no one gives a damn and no one is watching my videos anyway. I feel like that's objectively provable as well. The weapons are now more expensive and do less damage. Fact. The weapons are more expensive and do less damage, melee and ranged. So, weapons across the board are weaker and more expensive as well. Big issue. Armor and clothing. Astronomical scale increases in cost. Items, lower cost items are better in the new version, but just at that end. And again, costs skyrocket at other end of the scale. Page 21 and 22, the luck dice. Non-combat rolls. What non-combat rolls? Strategic use. There's basically no strategic use of this combat roll luck mechanic. Simon Templar says, I'm watching, but I might not exist. You are watching. You do exist. Thank you. And you're also one of these clips. I have no idea what the clip protest is, but I welcome you clipping. Armor and clothing. Okay, here we go. Page 23 neglects to mention with whether or not monsters should be in the entrance. Page 24, 1d20 to generate rooms, one room dungeons, one square room. Never mentions ranged weapons or rules. There you go. The original game, you had to have a room had to be at least 4 squares big before you could use a ranged weapon. That's not mentioned anymore. It also mentioned in the original rule set that you couldn't have more monsters in a room than there were squares in it. That rule's been omitted, but we have this luck dice. See, they omitted rules that were necessary to the game. It's so stupid. He talks about okay, here we go. Never mentions rage. Talk about bell curves. Here we go. Talk about bell curves. Before in the beginning, you used to have rooms being generated by 2d6 or 2d8 or something. So you'd have rooms that would be at the smallest would be 2 squares. If you have a d20, you could have these huge rooms of 20, but you could have a room that's 1 square big. But wait, hold on. You could have up to 3 doors in a room. It's too many doors. And you could have too many dead ends. It's terrible. They screwed up the rules for making rooms and doors. They did. They made it worse. Generate doors. Roll D3 includes the door you came in through. Possibility of 1 room dungeon after entryway. You could have you could start off with a dead end. For each participating party member, first mention of a party instead of a lone adventurer that starts at late. It's page 24. After just saying in the beginning that it could be for solo play or you could have a group. It just says in the beginning, then on page 24, all of a sudden it introduces the concept again about if you have a multiple people, it comes out of nowhere. Page 27, monsters. Omits limiting number appearing based on the size of the room. I already mentioned that. New rules that make things harder. Note in light of above, difficulty modifier, armor rating. Yeah, all of a sudden the rules add an armor rating. So if you score a hit on a monster, it could soak some of the damage. That's fine, but the difficulty modifier is a thing where if a monster has a difficulty modifier of like 1 or 2, that means that every time you do an ability score, and your abilities only range from 1 to 5. You're only rolling a 6-sided die, and it's a roll under mechanic. A 6 is an automatic failure. Your abilities can't go higher than 5. Okay? So if a monster has an difficulty modifier of even -1, that means if you have a 5, you're rolling as if you have a 4. If you have a 2, you're always rolling as if you have the weakest skill available of a 1, where you'd only be scoring on automatic critical hits, which is a roll of a 1. So when you have only have 5 possible ability scores that you could have, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, having difficulty modifiers for beasts of 1 or 2 is incredible. It's an incredible move of the probabilities of success for characters. And that's what I mean by making this thing being exponentially, difficult, a dungeon compared to the first dungeons that came out of the system. Also, I said that I had this damning quote by the creator. There's a new rule in this game, this version of the game, that I didn't even see the first time I reviewed it. It says that during combat, after you normally the way it used to work was you do a bravery check to see if you were psyched out by the monsters in the room. If you weren't, you got an extra point of willpower. If you were, you lost willpower according to the willpower damage of the beastie that's freaked you out. Then you moved on to ranged combat if you had a ranged weapon. Then you move on to regular melee combat where you would fight one beast in the room. One. This is under the old paradigm. You'd roll to hit the guy. If you hit, you damaged the monster. If you missed, the monster damaged you. And that's how it worked. If you hit, you hit. If you missed, they hit you. That's how it worked. Now, in the new system, it was if you rolled against them, and if you hit, you hit. If you miss, they hit you. And then you have to roll to hit every other monster in the room. And if you don't hit them, then you just dodge them. And if you don't hit them, they hit you. And if you do hit them, it's just like you dodge them. Right? You have to fight in all of them, but not with the chance of succeeding and hitting them, just with the opportunity of being possibly missed by them. That makes it impossible. And I'm not going to go searching for the video again. There is a quote, someone who originally reviewed the micro chapbook RPG system said, "Oh, I was confused by this rule." And under their dead name, Tasha Patterson says, "Oh, no. You only have to fight one monster. If it was the other way, it would be impossible." But they have that under the impossible way here. It's impossible. By their own admission, this is impossible. By their own admission, it's impossible. So why are they making impossible games? And they've completely abandoned. By this time, then at the end of October and going into at the end of December 2022, they had a whole new they had a new micro R system. Basically, I figured out that every 6 months it's just basically pump and dump. They come out with a new system. This is the new system. They pump, and then they have nothing. So then they just come up. Now they're doing like 1-page 5e. They were doing things for simplified Mork Board fanzines or something for a minute. It is what it is, but it's nothing. But it's impossible. So the monsters are harder, and they have these combat bonuses that make it impossible. Yeah, combat. Every non-attacked enemy now attacks, and dodge doesn't do any damage. So every enemy gets a free attack and no possibility of blowback on them. Insanity. And totally new, as I know, especially for the party member in the front. 2 different death save mechanics, and one of them could totally loop. And what if you don't die in combat? 31 and 32. "31 and 32, dying. When a character reaches 0 health, they must make a strength test to stave off the icy grip of death. Automatic failure. That's if they rolled a 6, the character has died. Game over. Fail. That's if they scored something that wasn't a 6. The character is knocked out. They must make another strength test during the regroup phase of combat. Okay, what if they don't die during combat? If there are other party members, they can revive a KO'd character with a healing item. Okay, what if they're a solo? What if they're playing solo? If they're playing solo, presumably they get to that regroup phase and they can roll again if they're playing solo. So they roll again, and let's say it's an automatic failure. Okay, it's an automatic failure. Now they died. What if it's not an automatic failure and they pass? Well, then they pass. They could manage to stave off death for now, regain D6 health. Wake up if previously KO'd. Or an automatic success, say they roll a 1, the character makes a miraculous recovery, regain D12 health, and wake up if previously KO'd. Now, bear in mind, they could regain 12 health, they could regain 1 health. But the point is this, that a person who's KO'd as a solo player on the regroup phase could come back. Well, they could, of course, get knocked out again and come back. You get knocked out again and come back until they get an automatic failure. In other words, you're in an endless death loop until you get an automatic failure. Is that what we're to presume? Is that what's supposed to happen? Or is that what's supposed to happen during multi-party adventures? It's not stated. Maybe you should have not put that rule in out of nowhere when you didn't know how to explain it. Oh, but guess what? Right after dying, it says death. If all party members are dead, each one rolls the luck. Again, remember, you can play this game solo. In fact, that's what it's intended to be. People playing in groups is going to be the exception, not the normative rule. So if all party members are dead, each one rolls the luck, D12 dice, and consults the following chart. That's fine. But the point is this, is that you have 2 different death mechanics. One of which presumably is for in combat, one of which could be for outside of combat, but neither of which are not contradictory, and neither are we to choose. And one of which absolutely can result in a total absolute loop show. Loop show to beat the band, to say nothing of when you're waiting to go into these regroup phases. What are the enemies doing? Still beating on your corpse or leaving your corpse alone? Further ways in which this game is more hard at this point, there's no more dump stats. Previously, in previous iterations of the game, you could pretty much look at charisma and strength as being the main stats you had to concentrate on. Wits for the disarming of traps would come up every once in a while. Dexterity would be important if you wanted to use a ranged weapon, but those were game options, and you could concentrate on certainly the most important stat that you couldn't ignore, strength. But with this iteration of the game, because they've added so many traps and they've added so many wits tests all over the place, you really have to cover your bases and make sure you've got adequate coverage in all your stats. So there's no real way to just move all your points to one stat at detriment of any other. So that's another way which becomes almost impossible. Also, healing items. The healing items in this version of the game hurt you. The healing items hurt you. I want to point something out. Here's an apple. When you eat the apple, you roll a d3. On a roll of 1, it can heal 5 health points. On a roll of 2, it can heal d12 health points. That's nice. But on a roll of 3, it's a poison apple. It says, become poisoned. See room number 3. Okay, so room number 3 is Thornvine Patch. +1 to all DX rolls here. Every failed DX roll inflicts 1 health damage. That doesn't make any sense at all. Oh, but room 4 says poison apple tree. Oh, another typo. Hi, my name is Tasha Patterson. Did Tasha Patterson take her name from Tasha's Guide to Everything? I bet she fucking did. And I bet you that is so choice. Your fucking books are so full of fucking typos. If you're a writer, you write. All right, Keurig purchased. What's happening? Tim, if you're a YouTube live chat commenter, you YouTube live chat comment. I want you to take a quick look at your spelling. One does not purchase a Keurig. God damn it, I'm upset. No, I'm kidding. The poison apple tree. Those apples are so tempting. Make a wits roll to resist. If you fail, you want one and become poisoned, weakened for D6 rooms. So the apple can hurt you. And then there's the unmarked can. When you drink from it, roll a d3. 1, old coffee heals 5 will. 2, energy drink heals d10 health. Again, wait, hold on. The apple either heals 5 health or d12 health or poisons you. The old coffee heals 5 will or d10 health. Wait, shouldn't it heal will? Anyway, then on a 3, it's acid and it burns your throat and you lose D10 health. Again, even the stuff that's supposed to help you hurts you. Oh, by the way, on a roll of 6 on the treasures, you actually get a trap. Wonderful. Oh, a roll of 2, you get a lantern, which cancels darkness in the black canopy rooms, which is great, and subtracts -1 from ranged attacks in other rooms, which is good. After each room is cleared, roll a d6 and subtract the number of rooms you've used the lantern in. If the result is 1 or less, the lantern blows out, right? Ooh, that's cool. It's a limited number of uses. Every time, what that means, though, basically, folks, is that if you used it in one room and then you roll a 1 on a 6-sided die, which is a distinct mathematical probability, your lantern goes out. Also, what is the maximum number of rooms that you can use the lantern in? It's 6. because any number over 6, if you roll a 6-sided die, the highest number you're going to get is a 6. So if you subtract a 6 or any number greater than 6 from 6, you're going to get 0. So you can only use the lantern in 6 or less rooms. Does that sound great? And there's no mechanic here that says you could turn the lantern on or off. So I might end up forgetting things that I thought to think about when I went through all these things. But uh, it's good. It was good to go through it and to figure out, uh, objectively that it was tough. So I tried to look at it and I came up with the idea of creating a character that was like a level 5 character. And even then, going through, it was tough because the only thing that would really happen was they get the +5 damage bonus, and it goes to show you it's kind of hard to like balance these things. We could take a look at some numbers here, and also I took a look at running things through a little bit through Chat GPT, so we could understand the numbers here to understand how these things work statistically there a little bit. Get there here, pull it up here. There we go. Because the big thing is this, is that to understand a standard die has 6 sides. So there's no, it's normally in TTRPGs and in gaming, a lot of times using 2d6. You're rolling 2 dice, and that's because you get that thing which they call it a bell curve, because on 2 dice the average outcome is going to be like 7. Okay. But on a standard die, rolling a standard dice like we do in Micro Chatbook RPG there, uh, it's a single dice rolling. There's an equal probability that the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, or the 6 are going to show up. Okay. So the outcome of a 3 showing up is the same probability of a 6 showing up. So it's 16.7% chance that any one number is going to show up. Here we go. The little thing here. Is this the thing? Here we go. Try to do this. Hold on. Am I doing it? Is it working? Ah. So if we have the Micro Chatbook RPG system, which if you roll, if your stats could be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, right? And a 1 is an automatic success, and a 5 is an auto failure. I mean, a 6 is an automatic failure. Then here's the probability of success for each individual stat. Okay. So you have if your stat is a 1, right? The chance of getting an automatic critical success is a 16.7% chance. Okay. The chance of, and obviously, if you've got a 3, you have a 50% chance of success. Okay. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Do. Sorry, I'm trying. I'm trying to work out these numbers here. Trying to line up my notes with my notes here. Okay, so if your stat is a 3, you got a 50% chance. If your stat is a 4, you have a 66.7% chance of success. If your stat is a 5, you have an 83.3% chance of success. Okay? So we'll go with this. 1, if your stat is a 1, you can only win if the thing comes up as a 1. So you have a 16.7% chance of success. If you have a 2, you can win on a 1 or a 2. You have a 33.3% chance of success. If you have a 3, you can score on a 1, 2, or a 3. 50% chance of success. If you have a 4, you can score on 1, 2, 3, or 4. 66.7% chance of success. 5, you can score on 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 83.3% chance of success. Notice the auto 1 success and auto 6 fail results don't actually change the math here because the roll under setup already lined up perfectly with them, where it would matter if your stat could go above 5 or below 1. Okay? Now look, hold on, here we go. Now watch this, watch this. Now let's also take a look at failure. Hold on. Nope. I know this is like it's got to be like extraordinarily. All right, so here we go. All right, so now here we go. Now we see success and failure. Now we see the success green and failure red side by side. At stat 1, failing is much more likely. You see, this is the probability that you're going to fail, probability you're going to succeed. Okay. Now we have to what we want to take into consideration is the 2d6, the proficiency thing, because that's the thing where you get that bell curve. And what matters there is where it gets freaky deaky is because then we get the weakened condition. Now look at this. The blue is proficiency, the yellow is with a single die, and the green is what happens if you're in a weakened state. Okay, if you have to do the 2d6 and then take the higher stat, take the higher die, which is what happens when you're in a weakened state, which is what happens if you lose all your willpower, which is going to happen in a punishing dungeon like the one that we're dealing with in the case at hand. Okay, it's like a reverse bell curve. It's a punishing bell curve. If you have proficiency, you can see you roll 2 dice and you take the lower dice, which increases your chance of success on the roll, which you can see how it gets better for you. How you get that how it gets better for you as you move closer to the center there, the 3 mark. Okay, but you see how it gets worse for you. Woo! In the reverse proportionality there when you get punished there. And you can see in the yellow, it just goes up. I guess that's linear, right? It doesn't make any difference there because there's no bell curve. It's just boop, boop, boop. So you realize that as you level up in Micro Chapbook RPG, every level you gain that you increase your ability score 1 point, it has basically the exact same effect. Okay. It's really only with the 2d6 systems, that bell curve, that you really experience any sort of dramatic change in things. Okay, but the change is incredible when it cuts, especially when it cuts against you. When you have a 1 and you have to take the higher of the 2 dice, the likelihood that you're going to succeed on any of your rolls is almost like impossible. Okay. Here we go. Proficiency. Roll 2d6 and take the lower. In a roll under system with stat N, you succeed if the minimum die is less than or equal to N. Simple formula. For 2 dice, take the lower. Success chance at stat N equals with numbers. So there you go. Stat at 1, if you've got proficiency with 2d6, take the lower. Your chance of success goes from 16.7% to 30.6%. If your stat is 2, it goes from 33.3% up to 55.6%. 3 goes from 50% all the way up to 75%. 4 goes from 66.7% up to 88.9%. And if you've got proficiency and you're of a stat of 5, you go from 83.3% to 97.2% probability of success. Quick intuitions. Auto 1 success gets more common. Rolling a 1 on at least 1 die is 11 out of 36 chance, equals 30.6%. Auto 6 fail gets much rarer. The lower die is 6 only when both die are 6, equals 1 out of 36 chance, or 2.8%. Biggest boost is around the middle stat. 3 goes from 50% to 75%. At the high end stat 5, you're nearly guaranteed success at 97.2%. If you ever use other variants for take the lower of K dice, the same idea gives success. Okay. So looking at punishment, having to take the higher of the 2 dice if you're in a weakened state or the poison state. This time you roll 2d6 and take the higher. That means you succeed only if the higher die is less than or equal to your stat. To succeed, both die must roll less than or equal to your stat. Because if even one rolls higher, the higher die will exceed your stat and you fail. So if you have a 1, and you're rolling with disadvantage, meaning you have to take the higher die, your likelihood of success goes all the way, plummets to 2.8%. With a stat of 2, your likelihood of success goes to 11.1%. With a 3, where your previous probability of success was all the way at 50%, it's now halved. You're now at 25%. With a stat at 4, where you were at 66.7%, you're now at 44.4%. And ladies and gentlemen, with a stat of 5, where previously you were at 83.3% likelihood of success, you're now only at 69.4% of success. Intuition at low stats, disadvantage is brutal. Stat 1 goes from 17% to 3%, less than 3%. At middle stats, it cuts your chance roughly in half, 50% to 25%. Even at stat 5, you can still fail a lot, around 30%. So 2 dice take the lower proficiency, success is much easier. 2 dice take the higher, success is much harder. So, end state takeaway. For me, it was worth it to me to go through and play Micro Chapbook RPG again with 2 new characters. One, a fresh, new first level character that died within 2 rooms. No, they didn't die actually because they came with the resurrection mechanic on off the save mechanic. They just went back to the prep area, I guess. And the second character hasn't died yet. I then generated a level 5 character that is doing okay. But what the funny thing is, the level 5 character who was then survivable is just not running into any enemies. They just keep on running, generating these rooms that are like these like trapped treasure sealed rooms for whatever reason, so you can't catch a break. But it was good to look at the system, look at systems, look at old videos, review old material, play, take notes, study, kick the tires, and think. Think about the materials, think about how systems interact. And get back out there. I don't know why people make the decisions that they do. I could speculate. My speculations might hit upon the correct answer. And my speculations may run wild. Into the dark. So best not to speculate. The Queen of Pentacles speculates. Upon the issues and materials before her. It takes care and consideration to care for and to consider that which needs nurturing. We continue to do the work. We continue to be grateful for the people around us that work with us and for us, around us and above us. Take care. Thank you for being around. Thank you for enjoying this video. If you enjoyed this video, if you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not liked, comment, and subscribed already. And we'll catch you on the next one. If you got anything you'd like to see on the channel, any thoughts, ideas, or speculations, feel free to let us know in the comment section below. Until next time, I love you, I love you, I love you. Nobody told you they loved you today. Somebody just did. That somebody is Dead Name's Guide to Cringe. I'm kidding. Not your guide to anything. Till next time. Release that list yet? Greatness of soul.